We're going to keep it on sports here this afternoon. And in just a minute, we're going to be talking with a great guy who I had the pleasure of meeting at Triple Play just a couple of weeks ago. He is not only a fellow who works in education and not only an area scout, but he's also the founder of Baseball's Next Level. And it is my pleasure to welcome to the Dose of Reality in AM 1030, Bryan Huie. Bryan, are you there?
Yes, sir. How you doing this morning?
Hey.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. It is good to be with you. Thank you for joining us. Bryan, could you tell us a little bit about what's going on with the BNL and how you came about founding this BNL organization, Baseball's Next Level?
BNL is a club baseball organization. We run ages from 12 to 18 here in southern Arizona, and it's been a really neat thing for our entire community here in southern Arizona. We've been able to we've been doing it for we just finished our third year. We do summer ball and then we do some fall winter ball, and so we're getting ready to start our fourth summer. And in those first 3 years, we've had 105 kids go play college baseball, and we've had 4 guys drafted, so it's been really neat.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's got to make you feel good when your head hits the pillow after all of the effort. But you organized this league from scratch, is that right?
I did. I know we were going to chat a little bit about my my scouting job with the New York Yankees now, but at the time I was working for the Chicago White Sox and had worked for them for about 12 years, and unfortunately it was a paid part-time job and they laid me off. And I really loved helping kids. One of my jobs with the White Sox was they had me always run an area high school scout team, and I would take the best 30 to 32 kids here in southern Arizona, southern New Mexico, and occasionally a few kids in El Paso, and we'd go play all the junior colleges in the fall. And so with that and me scouting, I kind of got into watching club baseball, and to be real honest with you, when I got laid off, I loved helping kids. At the time, we'd probably helped 250 kids in southern Arizona to play college baseball or professional baseball, and I wanted to continue that. And so I decided to start a thing called Baseball's Next Level, and I really wanted to pride myself in doing it, in my opinion, the right way. The average summer ball cost is $1,500 to about $3,000 to play summer club baseball. We charge $600 for the whole summer, and it's just phenomenal. It pays for your 4 tournaments, 24 practices up at Reed Park, and all of our coaches played college or professional baseball. We also have a scout day, and I had committed to about 60 kids that first year, and then the Yankees came calling and offered me a job, and I told them what I was doing with BNL, and they were totally okay with it. And so I've been able to do both for the last, going on 4 years now.
That is just outstanding. Before we talk about the Yankees, which obviously is going to be of most interest to our listeners, I do want to ask you one more question about the BNL and what you've done and all your good work in developing young men. Most of the development happens between the ages of about 13 and 14. Is that still true in baseball today, or does it happen a little bit later?
You know what? I completely agree with what you're saying. I think from the standpoint of developing, the skills to play the game the right way, to be honest with you, when you're 13, 14, 15, and even up to 16 years old, and this even with me scouting, and things that I've learned over the years, but especially now that I've been doing this BNL stuff, we've always just taken good athletes, and they may have not been the best baseball players per se, but they were just good athletes, and then you tried to mold them into how to play the game correctly, just like you said, whether it be football, baseball, basketball, and we've been successful at doing that. And so I've said it many times, and this is my 16th year scouting, and I've seen some kids that were freshmen in high school that you'd think that they were going to be top 5 round draft picks by the time they were seniors, and some kids develop a little faster than others, and some kids don't get a whole lot better from their 15 and 16-year-old mark, and it just, I think a lot of it has to do with just development, not only physically, mentally, emotionally, and I think there's a lot of other factors that go into it.
There's got to be. And I want to get down to that nitty-gritty of what goes into it and what you look for. I think the typical person who watches baseball probably thinks of a scout and says, okay, yeah, they're going to show up at the venue about an hour before the game starts. They're going to sit out there, watch the practice, and then they're going to be behind home plate holding a jugs gun looking at the talent. Could you tell us a little bit about what really is involved in the art and science of scouting professional baseball.
Absolutely. You know what? Again, this will be my 16th year, starting my 16th year, and I think I've talked to you a little bit, and some people that I've met along the years. I started at the rock bottom. I had just gotten done playing minor league baseball, and as I told you, for me, I'm very upfront and honest with people, and at the end of the day, I just wasn't good enough to pitch in the big leagues, and I couldn't throw enough strikes. Had a good arm, left-handed 92 to 95 at times, and just simply couldn't throw enough strikes, realized it, and got out of the game.
And you said you had 4 pitches at the time, right?
Fastball, slider, changeup, 3 there, but I just couldn't do it consistently enough. The days that were consistent were really, really neat days, and I just couldn't back those up on multiple days, it seemed like. And so, I got out and got into teaching and coaching, but really wanted to try the scouting as well. And fortunately, one person had gotten back to me, and it was a Chicago White Sox organization by a guy by the name of John Kazanis, and I worked my way up, not making any money. I was called an associate scout. I did that for the first 3 years of my career. At the time, I was single. Obviously didn't have a wife and kids, and so I was able to do that. And I really started learning the game from John Kazanis on the scouting side of it, because scouting is completely different than coaching and playing. And after that, they put me on an expense account, and I thought I was doing good for myself. I finally got my expenses paid for, and did that for a couple of years, and then for about the last 6 or 7 years, they actually, my contract was a paid employee. And over the years, what I've learned is a whole lot. I feel a lot more comfortable now going in year 16, and it really did take me, at least 5 or 6 years to figure out what to look for and different things. And we've all heard the 5-tool player and, bat speed and speed and arm strength and, those things, but there's so much more into it. And I'd say over the last 3 or 4 years, they've really got into this analytics as well of the game of baseball. But you know what, when you build a game, yes, you want to look, does the kid pass the eye test, for example, whether he be a high school senior, a freshman or a sophomore, junior college, or possibly, junior, senior at the 4-year level. And you kind of look out and see if the kid passes the eye test. And what I mean by that is, height and weight, are they a typical, first baseman guy that's going to be, 6'2", 6'3", 220, and your corner guys, are they 6'1", 6'4", and are they 205 to 210, and so if they pass the eye test, then you try to bear down on them a little bit. You obviously want to get there for BP, and then you start looking at those things. You look for bat speed, absolutely, and strength, and can they hit for power, and those different things. And so you do a lot of that at BP as well, and then yes, absolutely. As far as pitchers, absolutely, you have to be behind the backstop to get some jug readings or stalker readings or whatever gun you're using, and then you'll see people, you'll see scouts venture off to, for example, if they're a pitcher, they're going to venture off down the line. If he's right-handed, they're going to go down the third base line, and they're going to look at him from a side angle, and is he getting his arm up in time before his body goes forward, and is his hip flying out of his shoulders, is he on top of the ball, is he getting around the baseball? There's so many things just from the pitching standpoint. Now, flipping that, going on the hitting standpoint, you see a lot of us, if he's a right-hand batter, we'll go down and we'll stand on the first base side, and we'll look at his swing from the side view, and not occasionally when there's guys that we think will go pretty high in the draft, if we really want to bear down on, we'll put some video on them from a side view and really start to break that down and things like that. So those are a few typical things that we look for.
That is outstanding. We're talking to Bryan Huie. He is not only the founder of a fantastic developmental league for youngsters in the game of baseball, but he's also an area scout for the New York Yankees, the 27 World Championships New York Yankees. Bryan Huie, I want to thank you for joining us on your Dose of Reality, and thanks for being a good sport and calling in on a Saturday. Really appreciate it, and what a pleasure meeting you the other day over at Triple Play, sir. All the best to you.
one last thing. If any kids that are 12 through 18 that are, families that are listening, if you guys can go to our website, it's very easy. It's just baseballsnextlevel.com. It's plural. And you can check out some information and see if you want to be part of this organization.
Thank you very much. Folks, we've been listening to Bryan Huie, area scout for the New York Yankees and founder of Baseball's Next Level here in Arizona.